Hey everyone, today we're going to do a lesson on how to draw Atsushi from Stray Dogs. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, or pronounce his name. Don't let me know if not. But it's kind of an advanced lesson. Let me get a little closer there. So it's definitely a different pose than normal. We've got him kind of leaning up into the picture, but it was a lot of fun drawing, and so I hope you'll stick around. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give me a follow on Instagram, and check out my anime books on josephstevenson.com. So let's get going on the lesson. Alright, so I'm going to start, put a little border down here, just so I know where I want to stop with my drawing, so I don't go totally off the edge. I don't know that I really need to do up here because I'm going to have him kind of with his head up here and his body that comes down here, so I just didn't want to keep going and end up off the page. So let's start with, let's mix it up a little. We'll do kind of the shape of his body first, and then we'll bring it in and we'll add his head after we do that. So the shape that I'm going to do, essentially we're going to have his body with one shoulder kind of facing one way and the other one kind of hidden behind him. So I'm going to just sketch this out a little. Just, I'm going to throw a couple of shapes in here and then kind of show you what I'm doing. So this right here is going to be his arm, his torso, this down here into his leg, one leg, the other leg, kind of come through here, bring it even further like that, okay. And then up his chest, the chest part of his torso up here. That's gonna go. It's gonna have an arm. Kind of comes back here like this. And his fist. And then here is where his head is gonna be. His head. We'll just do a basic head shape like that. So when you're doing, now I just kind of like basically sketched it out, but when you're doing a torso, you kind of want to identify with a couple circles where the shoulders would be. You draw a line between the two, come straight down, and same thing with the hips. And then the legs and out. We can do the same thing with like the arms, so we can figure out, okay, our elbow's gonna go out there, come down, and the hands can be kind of a ball as well. So adding in those kind of basics, that'll help us get our proportions where we want them and get essentially everything in the right place. So that's kind of how I'm getting the shape. Now I didn't draw those first just because I'm kind of just goofing off sketching some to kind of get really some basic outlines of where I want things to go. But that's what I always kind of recommend, is start with some circles, some lines, get everything connected. If you kind of do it that way, it's just gonna make things a lot easier. So with his face, we did kind of this basic anime face shape. So it's gonna curve, come down, but then when we get to about here, it is definitely kind of pointy, or his chin is kind of pointy. And we'll curve up, and then once we get to right about here, I'm gonna just add in a little bump for kind of his ear. that's it. That's kind of the entire shape. His hairline, though, is essentially going to come like that, and up like that, and kind of over. And he has a bit of wild hair, so in terms of just sketching in basic shape of the hair, it comes down. Then he has kind of this extra chunk of hair that kind of comes over and through. And actually, I want it to be a little farther out, kind of like that. Reverse that so I don't draw the same thing twice. So essentially that kind of gives me the basic what I'm looking for. And then with his nose and eyes, so you just kind of draw a line through the center of where you want his face, and then the eyes, a line across there. And then that way we can kind of figure out where we want to put the nose. So I'm going to go about there, and it's just a point like that. A little line over there. That's it for the nose. Really simple. And then his mouth, I'm going to just do a little grin like that, and over and up like that. Alright, we having fun so far, I hope. So then we'll come up here like that, and I'm going to do this kind of basic eye shape just to give me kind of his basic look. And see, we do the pencil first because like I already kind of feel like this eye needs to be more like that. And like that. The nose feels off. I can't even figure out why. So I'm just gonna come back and redo that. So just a little curve up like that. And then curve in just like that. Nothing too crazy. It also might just be how his face is shaping with everything. Can't be entirely sure, but sometimes things just don't look like you imagine, and that's why I always do pencil before ink, so that I have the option to go and try to fix the thing. Alright, let's come down over here, and I'm gonna sketch in this other eye over here. So, just doing a couple lines on the top there. Do a line down here for that side of the eye. And then I want that one and this one to kind of line up a little. So we'll go like that. Add in the pupil. Just like that. That's going to give me kind of the real basic of what I'm hoping to get out of this one. Let's see. What do I think? Maybe so now let's sketch in a little more on his hair. I just want to make sure that the whole thing looks kind of right. So let's do kind of some whiffs. So we'll just come down and point and then back up and then down, create another point and back up. And we're gonna just do this and follow this other line and just keep on coming closer and closer down here. So down like that. This one I'm gonna have kind of overlap a little, and we'll just keep going down. It's kind of this choppy hair look, so we'll just keep on letting it be choppy. Up. And when we get close to the ear over here, I'm gonna kind of cover up the ear just a little. Like that. And put it down here. Let's add a little point right here with the hair. And then we'll follow through that. And we're just creating these little chops all the way down. I think that's probably about good. I don't want to go too far. Bring it up like that. The integrity of the shape of the hair. And then create some more little points over here. This is going to be the back of his head. So we'll just keep on going around. And I want his head, or his hair, to be a little higher than kind of where the general head goes. So let's go kind of his shoulder goes right down like that. So we'll come over here and we'll just add some points on this side, keeping it consistent but not the exact same. Don't want to keep it identical. With hair, if it looks exactly the same, then it doesn't look like hair. It looks like you just did a whole bunch of points, and you'll end up being like, I don't love the way my hair looks on this character. So that's one rule of thumb. Always try to have your hair be different. You don't want it identical. All right, I think sketching wise, I'm good on the head. Let's add a little more hair that kind of comes down there. That way it matches the rest. Doesn't look like he got a haircut back there, but nowhere else. All right, let's come down. I want to just, I really roughly sketched in the other parts. So let's do a bit more on his arm over here. So I'm just adding in a sleeve. Come up like that. That's going to be one sleeve. And then here we got to add kind of some cuffs. So we'll just come down like that. Create kind of this shirt cuff. Add a couple creases. His arm, come down, just like that. He's got gloves on, so I'm gonna just put something down there so that it reminds me he's wearing these gloves. Okay, let's keep going on the shirt. I'll add a couple of creases, but I'm going to come down here and just do a loop across for where his pants are, and then sketch in his pants a little bit. So I'm just adding that line across, a couple lines, just so that we have kind of some creases. So all we want to do is just not have the pants be perfectly straight. It's kind of like the hair, you know, if they're perfectly straight, they don't give off a feeling of like realism. So I'm gonna add a crease here, crease that kind of comes up like that, and we'll do a crease here, and a crease down here. All right, and then we'll just, I'm gonna do his belt. And his belt is literally just gonna follow this waist all the way up here, and then do kind of a little belt loop thing, and then we're back up here, the t-shirt. Come through. This guy's real skinny, so we got real thin waist. Up here, all the way up to his face. Actually, I'll go like that. Like I said, he's real thin. So go like that. And we can just connect right there. And we have this arm over here we don't want to forget about, plus we have his shoulder. So if I've got his shoulder kind of coming down here, like that. He's got, well, let's see. Let's just go ahead and add this arm in real quick. So over here, I'm gonna just put in his sleeve that kind of comes out over here. Maybe like that. Okay. Got one sleeve, the other one. And then his arm is just gonna come down like that. His glove is gonna come like this. And since he's got his hand in kind of a fist, I'm just gonna add some little bumps like that, and down, and create a little fist right there. All right, that should be all right for now. And then last of all, we'll just come down like that. Not too bad, right? All right, let's add in, let's not forget his neck. Right here looks kind of empty, right? So I'm gonna come, and where his nose kind of comes here, I'll just follow it down and just go in a little for his neck. Come up here, come down, just like that. We're gonna add in kind of his collar. So just kind of sketching it in very basically. We can come back and make it more accurate if we need to. He's gonna be wearing a tie, so let's put one little piece of material there and there. And then essentially, we'll have the knot of the tie, like that. And then we need to bring the tie down. Just erase this. Last of all, suspenders. We can't forget the suspenders. I will have a lot of fans mad at me not get the suspenders. Right in the middle, there's going to be the little suspender metal things. I don't know what they're called. We'll come down, and right when we get to here, I'm going to just turn and bring it in. Essentially, it'll kind of make it look like I'm thinking in terms of them overlapping and bending around them. So same with here, we'll come down right on out like that, do the metal kind of buckle thing right there. Pretty sure that's the official term, the metal buckle thing. Down, just like that. And have these just like that. Next here, there's a little bit of metal piece. All right. I think from a standpoint of detail, I think I like it. So I'm going to use my marker. I'm going to fill in a couple things. So let's fill in his suspenders. So I want those to be all dark. So we'll just go completely dark on those, and I think I'm going to make his tie completely dark. I kind of want the pants dark too. But I do want to, I want to show the creases in the pants. So how do you do something completely dark and show the creases? So that's the real kicker, right? And there's a couple ways you can do it. So one would be leaving some light lines and things like that. It's not my favorite way because it tends to make it look, I don't know what's the word, it doesn't look good. It looks like it was an afterthought. It looks like we're trying to force some creases, and it never quite looks right to me. The other idea is to essentially use some kind of background to bring the dark in. And if we bring the dark in, then it's kind of like a subtle addition. And then the last thing, one other option would be is we could just go through and essentially make it all dark and not worry about having any creases. I kind of feel like, though, those creases are really cool, so I don't really want to not have them. So I wish you guys could talk while I do these videos, because I could just do a poll and say, what do you think? So I'm going to give a shot to leaving just a few lines. My thought is that with the rest of it all being pink, maybe we can get away with it. Worst case, it's going to turn out in a way that I don't love, but best case, I'm going to love it. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be glad I did it. So essentially what we'll do is we're still going to kind of fill it in like we would have, but we're going to just leave a few little lines here and there. So first off, I'm going to do kind of the belt, and wherever the belt loops are, I'm going to just add a very small line. So the belt loops will be a bigger line, but I guess what I should say is where the belt connects with the pants, because I'm going to have them both be completely dark, that's where I'm going to leave a small line. So kind of go like that and down. But then here, that. And like that. Over. And like that. So just very, very faint lines. I just essentially want the eyes to fill in some of it. So same like that. Just very, very light. Down, there's a crease here and here. We having fun? I hope. Crease down here. Like that. All right, before I think that's pretty good. Before I totally finish, I'm gonna just fill that in like that. We'll stop there. And we'll fill this in like that. All right. Now I can kind of fill in the pants, just completely dark. And let's see how these lines turn out. Let's see what we think. Don't want to accidentally go right over the top of anything. I'm also gonna just not worry too much if there's a few little light marks that shine through. After all, I'm leaving the creases, so I don't need it to be all the way filled in, completely dark. So if I just have a couple little ones that come through, it's not the end of the world, and if anything, it'll make it look kind of cool. So I'm gonna just fill this in. And you can go ahead and you can always fast forward this part if you're like, yeah, I know how to fill it in, buddy. You don't have to show me that. Feel free to fast forward or skip ahead, whatever it's called these days. When I was a kid, we had VHS tapes, so you'd fast forward. That was what it was called. That kind of probably dates me, huh? So let's see, just gonna fill this in real quick. And his gloves are actually black as well, so I'm gonna do those after this real quick while I've got my marker out. Just like that. There we go. All that good. So I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna just fill in where his glove is. I think with his glove, I'm not gonna even do any highlights. I'm gonna just do like I did with the tie. Let you kind of fill that in with your own imagination. There's the glove over here too, just a little bit. All right, we're good with that. I'm good with that. Let's go in with our thicker pen. I think that's my thinnest one. I was right on the first one. Oh, maybe not. It's probably not even it. Here we go. There's my thicker pen. All right, so I'm gonna come through and we're gonna do all of our main lines now. So we'll just start filling in all the areas that we want to. So I think I'm gonna start with kind of his shirt. And I'm gonna just come down and just use some real smooth lines and just start filling it in, just like that. Smooth lines, except for in the areas that I maybe want a little bit of creasing or something like that. But overall, I just want it smooth. Go like that. Up. Let's do this buckle so that I don't go over the top. Alright, like that. Just adding a little crease there. Alright, come down here. This kind of creases in. It's just like that. Alright, over here. And in. And then I'll actually curve this down all the way like that. And essentially it's going to go just like that. You know, it's like, oh, that looks like a sash or something, but if I add in a line like that and just do kind of a few lines that come down like this, that essentially is going to give me those creases that I want in a shirt. That. Let's do the belt buckle before that gets lost and everything. And top of this belt, or the top of his pants are going to be kind of like that. And just add a couple of little creases like this. Alright, let's go up here. There's probably creases down here. Let's do a crease that comes from the armpit, like that. Do the shoulder crease, so usually the sleeves and the shirt are connected. Like that. Just want to have enough creases that it looks realistic. Looks like a shirt would, you know? Just like that. Let's see. Add a few creases here. That's good. Let's not forget his buckle over here. And then he's got this sleeve that comes out and around. And his arm. Don't want to leave anything out. Just like over here, got to put his arm in over here too. Again, he's real thin, so we'll just keep it thin. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's move on to his face. So, that's his face. I'll just follow the outline of what we already did. That's pretty good. His mouth, I like to just make sure, a lot of times everybody focuses on the face, so I'm like, okay, is that exactly what I was wanting before I set it in stone, you know? There's no harm in just making sure. Like that, that's good. Alright, come up here. I'll start here. And yeah, that's alright. Like that. And you know what, before I keep going, let's just put the hair in up here at least, just so that I can know that I'm stopping at the right spot. It's very easy to just go right over the top accidentally, and then you've got a big old mess because you're trying to fix ink and it just doesn't quite right. Just go like that. His ear comes down. Keep going. Anything where there's like a wisp or part of the hair that comes out more than another part, we'll just do that part first. And I'm just filling in the pencil that's already there. One thing I haven't done though is it's got kind of this dark strand, so I'm going to just add it like that, and then we can just fill that in. So it's got like this dark strand right here. Don't want to forget that. Alright, so let's see, let's just keep on going. That. Just keep on keeping on. And just keep filling in. Keep going down. I'm just following the lines.
And make sure it sound right, boys.
Following them all the way down. Over here, we kind of started this so that we would know where to stop. And I think that's where we're stopping. It's right there with that. So, we're already on the hair. We might as well just finish the strands up. So, I want this to kind of be my focal point. And so I can kind of come through here. I can do a couple of things like that. Essentially, I just want that to kind of be where the hair does its part. I think I'm good with that. The hair is where I like it. So I'll come back up here. He's got a thicker eyelash right up here on top, like most anime manga characters. So we'll add that eyelash, and I'm going to just add in a couple little lines like that for the eyebrow. And then the lower eye, essentially just one like that. Alright, and then come down here because we have the eyeball, the pupil. And I'm going to just make these lines dark. There's the dark of the eye right in the middle here. Call that good. Just like that. Alright, with this side, we're going to just do a straight line across like that. And we're done. There's the eye. Just kidding. Now, then we'll do kind of a frowny face right below it. So there's those two lines like that. Okay. Then we'll do the pupil right here. Same thing, just make it dark around the edge of the pupil. I'm going to leave this little gap for light. And I'm going to do just dark line. We'll come back and we'll kind of fill it in a little. That side we'll just go down a tiny bit. And then there you go. That's decent. I can add in a couple lines right here and essentially kind of bring it back like that to give us the eyebrow on that side. Alright. Come up like that. Down, over. Now, I do these in videos so you can kind of go back and skip back, re-watch, draw similar, make changes. It's really hard though when you do a video to just take your time and say, okay, here's the theory behind all this, because you do that and you take too much time and it just, I mean, the videos already are going to be about 45 minutes or so, and that's me just trying to cruise along and knock it out so that you can kind of see the finished project. But if you go on my Instagram, that's where you can leave comments. The comments get turned off on YouTube Sorry about that. That's a YouTube rule, so I can't do anything about that. But leave a comment, leave questions. I am always happy to answer and do whatever I can to help. I love helping. I love doing these lessons. They're fun. And so I don't want you to get stuck and get discouraged or anything like that, because then it's no more fun, right? So just erasing a little bit of the pencil so that I can see what I'm missing. Sometimes the pencil will get so in the way that it's hard for me to even notice something like the fact that I didn't do the inside of his ear. And I can hear the camera. I hope I'm not making it shake too much that's going crazy. All right, I think we're getting there. It's looking pretty cool. So, all right, let's come down. Let's see, I haven't done anything on the inside of his ear. So I'm gonna just add that in, a little line, nothing crazy. His neck, I feel like maybe his neck kind of comes in here. I think the rest is gonna be the collar, so I'm good with that. What else? Probably a little crease in there. I'm just trying to kind of eyeball everything, see if I missed anything major. Do I have enough creases on the shirt? That kind of thing. Because I'm going to move on to my thinner pen, and I don't really want to have to come back to my thicker one. Always be careful if you're holding your pen in your hand and wiping off anything. You don't want to completely, just go right over the top of the other stuff. So I think that's good. I'm gonna go to a thinner pen. So my thinner one, let's see, here's my thinner one. So I'm gonna go through now and we're just gonna do some shadows. So I'm gonna just do line work for my shadows. And it's just gonna be straight lines all the way through. So anywhere that I have like a dark shadow is where I'm gonna do it. This back arm is probably gonna have a lot of dark shadow. So I'm gonna just fill it all the way in, except for a little bit over here, kind of on the top. But otherwise, I would imagine that his body is kind of shading most of that in. So we'll do that. Also on the front over here, he's gonna have, his body kind of shadowing most of that. I'm just gonna do some line work. I'm gonna have this whole front side be shaded. And then in the interest of keeping it not looking like it's just one flat line, I'm gonna just bring a little bit of the shadow through like that. There we go. Let's add some lines here under this armpit. Let's add some under his, not his collar, but his sleeve over here. So I'm just trying to add some dimension to the drawing. Best way to do that, add in some shading. Let's add, we can go to where some of these creases are. Just add some very small ones. I can even come under the tie here and just do one like that so it looks like the tie's leaving the shadow, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna do the full neck, but I'm gonna do it a little lighter so that way it gives like this kind of a double shadow. And then the collar. The collar is gonna be underneath his head, so there's gonna be a shadow there. But then because we're getting into the light, I'm gonna just do a little one there for texture. And I'll just keep going. So where some of these creases are, I wanna add a small shadow, just to give off that little look. So back here, if you've already seen this, This is back behind him, so this should have a shadow. So really just this side of him is going to be where a lot of the shadows are. I'm going to add just a small one on the nose there. You can add a little one underneath some of the hair here. That way it's like, okay, the hair is giving off a bit of a shadow. Makes it look like the hair isn't plastered right to the face. Kind of a cool little effect. Just add a little. Okay. Probably here is still also shadowed because it's all going to be underneath. But then as we come out, we gotta remember to let it lighten a little. Alright, let's see what else. Probably just a little here for the hair. Let's add in a few more on these creases. Just a few here and there. Doesn't have to be perfect, we just want enough shadows that kind of pop up that it adds some realistic features to this guy. Let's see, I'm gonna just kind of eyeball it and figure out if I've missed anywhere. I feel like the shirt here is just needing a little something. It's a little bit too clean and not grungy enough. Alright, let's go to the hair. And I'm going to kind of do a similar thing. I'm going to go and just add in some shadows on the strands all the way up. I want to kind of follow a bit of the direction of the hair, and that'll keep the texture looking correct. I'm going to add in a little over the top of some of them just because that seems right. We don't want it exactly the same every time, right? So just add it in here and there. Let's see. A little bit here and there. If you do it very subtly, very lightly, the chances are you probably won't mess up your drawing. You just do it really lightly. Don't have to add a lot. Just a little here and there. Just enough to give it whatever it is you would imagine it needs to look like from a realism standpoint. But after all, it's anime, so there's only so much that's really that realistic, you know? I'm gonna go a little darker on these so that this part of the hair looks more shaded than the rest. How's that? I think that's half decent. I do feel like in here just needs a little bit of something. A little bit too clean. Alright, let's see. Any other pencil marks I want to erase? Last thing I'm going to do is I want to add in just a little more, a little bit more of a kind of thicker line on the outside. And so essentially I'm going to just take these edges and I'm going to just follow them and not worry too much that I'm going over the lines. You might be like, what are you doing? They were clean. I like it. I like doing this because it kind of just I don't know. It's fun. After all this time of trying to be semi-accurate, it kind of just makes it fun. So I'm gonna just go through and add a little of this. You could totally stop. So while I do this, this is like the last part for me. I gotta tell you about my new book. So depending on when you watch this, it may or may not be new, but I've got How to Draw Anime Part 1 and Part 2 that are now out. I've been really excited about it. It's a lot of work putting the book together, but I hope you like it. You can find it on Amazon. If you go though to josephstevenson.com, that's where I can kind of say, hey, here's the best deals on it. But part 1 kind of goes over the face, how to do eyes, nose, mouth, all that good stuff. And then part 2, the next book is about the figure. So I know today I just kind of like rushed through and I was like sketching this out real quick, the figure, and you might be like, okay, cool, but I don't really know, some of the details of that, like how do I do this or that. So the book covers that quite a bit, and I'm going to try to keep on adding more lessons, things like that. But yeah, I mean, go check it out. I'd love it if you got a copy. That's kind of the only way to really support me. I don't have sponsors or anything like that. I just kind of do this all for fun. So check it out. That'd be awesome. And even if you can't get the book, give me a follow on YouTube and on Instagram. I kind of post my lessons all on there, and I'd love for you to take a look and give me a follow. Let me know what you think. Give me some feedback. I love that. I think we're pretty much done with this guy. I hope you've had fun. This was kind of this was a request from a follower, and so I said, why not? Let's do it. I hope others also enjoy it, and that this will help you when you're just practicing to get better and better with your anime and manga. Now we just gotta sign this guy. I'll just sign it right here in the middle. Date it. And there's our lesson for today. So thanks again for hanging out. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you've had fun. And I will see you in tomorrow's lesson.